Alright guys, I usually have a funny intro, right? But this is a very heavy movie, so I'm gonna start because yeah, I got some feelings about this one. What's going on, you guys? James here. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Bombshell is that kind of movie that'll make you really mad, but trust me, that's the intention. Yeah, it's supposed to make you really mad. But before you go any further and talk all about Bombshell, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me. And honestly, I love movies. So I drop a new video each and every week talking all about some of the latest and some of the oldest movies. So if you like all that, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on the bell right next to it because that'll help you keep up to date with everything new that I drop here. And don't forget to like this video, share it with all your friends, and in the comments below, let me know. Did this movie make you mad too? Okay guys, so let's waste no more time and jump right into Bombshell. Now this movie is directed by the guy who did all 3 Austin Powers movies, and yes, you heard that right, Austin Powers movies. It surrounds all of the controversy over at Fox News when former head chief Roger Ailes was sexually harassing women, and 3 employees in this movie brave enough to come forward and talk about it. Charlize Theron plays Megyn Kelly, and as you might have known if you keep up with the news, she was one of the women at Fox News to come forward with these allegations, and it really provided a strong voice for the women who really were looking for a voice. And Nicole Kidman plays Gretchen Carlson, another former Fox News anchor who also came forward with sexual harassment claims against Roger Ailes. The movie then documents everything moving forward and what happened with Roger Ailes and the women at Fox News. Okay, now that you kind of have the scene set for you, let's dive into the actors because, okay, trust me, Charlize Theron, we know she's great, but in this film, she completely disappears as Megyn Kelly. Now, I myself used to work in news, so I was familiar with Megyn Kelly's style of anchoring, and man, Charlize Theron blends into this role, and it's like I'm not even watching Charlize Theron. I thought at some moments I was watching Megyn Kelly. I mean, everything from her speech, her actions, her diction, her mannerisms, it was on point. And honestly, coming out of the theater, the first thing I could think of is Charlize Theron is probably the front runner to win the Oscar for Best Actress, from what I've seen, of course, this year. And what I do like a lot about Bombshell is that it's not always about Charlize Theron. Some of the most emotional moments, the most tense moments in this movie come from Margot Robbie's character, Kayla. What I love most about Margot Robbie in this movie is that she's not simply just there, like she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. In Bombshell, she has a more important role, and I think she's given even more quality screen time. The moments involving her and Roger Ailes in this movie, for example, really creeped me out, but Margot brought the emotion, and like her character arc, in my opinion, was the best in the entire film. She goes from being a Fox News lover to understanding she's been the victim of sexual harassment and needs to speak out. Now, as for Nicole Kidman, she took more of a backseat to both Charlize Theron and Margot Robbie, and I think that the writer did that on purpose, but for me, being a huge Nicole Kidman fan, I wanted to see her do more in this movie. She was really non-existent for most of the film, and when she was on screen, she made an impact, but she was barely on screen for most of Bombshell. Now, I knew that Bombshell was going to be an important film, and I'm glad it proved to also be a timely movie. This coming out now sheds a new light and perspective for me, truly, of what happened to these women at Fox News, because guys, when I tell you that some of that stuff creeped me out, I mean, Roger Ailes he's a pig. But I'm glad that director Roach didn't hold back on really uncovering that veil and showing you exactly how horrible he and Fox News were at the time of him, I guess, being head chief. By the end of the movie, I felt so mad and I was so creeped out. But like I said earlier in the intro, if you're not angry, y'all, what movie were you watching? So speaking of Roger Ailes, I can't forget about John Lithgow's performance in this movie. See, I love him as an actor. I think he's so versatile and I absolutely enjoy every moment I get to see him on the big screen. And in Bombshell, it's no exception because he plays Roger Ailes, and trust me, he also gets lost in the role. I mean, not as much as Charlize Theron, but boy, he brings those vibes and I'm like, yo, I can barely look at you. You're not John Lithgow right now. It's a really good performance. Before we move on to what I really didn't like about this movie, let me mention one more thing. The makeup and prosthetics work in this movie is outstanding, and it's gotta get nominated for an Oscar because what they did was bring a lot of these Fox News personalities to life in this movie using different actors. I mean, Bill O'Reilly, Neil Camuto, all these different actors looked just like their real life counterparts, and don't get me started on Rudy Giuliani. Lord. Y'all, that was, it's truly incredible work. Okay, so let's move on to what I didn't really like too much about Bombshell, and I think that's the way the movie flows. So its progression from start to finish feels more like a movie comprised of separate moments rather than one continuously flowing narrative. And for me, it would have probably worked better as maybe a miniseries, let's say, because of the way it was shot. It's very rapid fire, and there's a lot of things that happened that didn't allow me to stay settled in the moment, for example. The only time that I felt grounded and pretty much settled with the acting were moments with Margot Robbie's character, because everything else is pretty fast. It moves from scene to scene to scene to scene. And then I had a little issue with the writing as well, because what that did was not leave a lot of room for supporting actors. And the one supporting actor they try to prop up the most is Kate McKinnon as Margot Robbie's kind of like pseudo lover in a sense. It just didn't really flow too well. There's not a lot of natural progression. So overall, Bombshell really is a film that already adds to what we know about Fox News, and it gets you mad all over again. I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie to put themselves in the mindsets of these women who were unfortunately sexually harassed. It had to be really tough. Of course, there's the standout Charlize Theron, but I really do feel like Margot Robbie deserves to be talked about more, because in Bombshell, she really makes this role her own. As an overall movie though, it's solid, but there's an issue, like I said, with the writing and the natural progression of the story. Now, I can't blame director Roach too much because it's a crowded half of 2019, but Bombshell didn't deliver as big a splash as I think it wanted to. Alrighty guys, so there you have it. That's my take on Bombshell. If you enjoyed everything you just heard and saw, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and again, don't forget to tap that bell so you keep up to date with anything new that I drop this week and for all the weeks ahead. Like this video and share it with all your friends. Also, in the comments below, let me know what you think of the film when you see it. Alrighty guys, so until next time, I'll catch you at the next screening. I feel like I need a detox after this movie. Lord.